Meeting of the school committee will come to order. Let's do Pledge of Allegiance, please. Item number one, reading of the records.
We waive the reading except as written.
Motion made and seconded to waive the reading except as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roman numeral 2, report of the superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to suspend the rules and take item number, actually Roman numeral number 3, recognition of art department, out of order, please.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to take item Roman numeral 3, recognition of the art department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And I'd like to bring up Amanda Gill. Both myself, Mr. Barros, and a few other folks were there last week. What an incredible job. I was applauding her and all the children all night long. I believe we wound up with 9 awards that night from the Boston Globe, but you know what? I don't want to steal any of your thunder, so I want to make a motion to bring her up with her kids.
Ms. Gill, you're welcome to come
Josh.
forward. We have a microphone. Excellent.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and second, all in favor,
No, don't we have that already? No.
to bring her
Okay.
forward.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to bring
Sorry.
Ms. Gill forward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Ms.
Thank
Gill,
you.
you have the floor.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Sorry, I probably jumped the gun.
No, I did.
Thank you so much for having me, Mrs. Gauthier, Mr. Abramsky, and Mr. Shaw, and the school committee members. I appreciate it. We also have another art student over here in the crowd, Oscar, as well. But I really appreciate you bringing us here tonight. I have a couple of art students standing next to me. These students are also represented in the art show. We had a really wonderful evening on Tuesday night. We had our first annual all-school art exhibit for 9th through 12th grade, and all these students were participants in that exhibit. Some of these students here represent students who have won awards, as well as students who are super dedicated to their art, and they're looking to pursue that in college after graduating this coming spring. So like Mr. D'Onofrio said, we won 9 Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Awards this year. Some of those students are standing here next to me, as well as a Congressional Art Competition Award as well. So I'd like to have the students introduce themselves, just say their name and what art classes they've taken here.
My name is Hannah Hawkins, and I've taken art classes throughout the 4 years of my high school. I've taken Digital Photo 1, Digital Photo 2, Studio Art, Drawing and Painting, and Yearbook.
Hi there, my name is Gabriel Machado. I've been in this high school for 3 years. The 3 years straight doing art classes. The first class was like sculpture. The second one was studio art, and the third one is 3D animation.
Hi, my name is Jillian Avalar. I've been taking classes here for 3 years. Freshman year, I took Drawing and Painting 1, sophomore year, Drawing and Painting 2, and this year, Advanced Art.
Hey, my name is Oscar. I have took photography too, and I don't remember, a studio class.
Hey, my name's Bailey Grandy, and I've been taking art classes since sophomore year. Sophomore year, I took Intro to Studio Art 1, then junior year, Studio Art 2, and this year, Illustration and Introduction to Graphic Design.
So just to quickly go over these students' accomplishments. Hannah Hawkins was one of our digital photography students. She's recently got accepted into Lesley University, as well as Bunker Hill Community College, and she's looking to pursue fine arts when she graduates this coming spring. So congrats to her. We have a student here who's also an athlete who has had a game tonight and couldn't be here, Alex Brown. He's one of our winners of the Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Awards for his self-portrait. Gabriel Machado, here is one of his illustrations, Guyette's Inspiration, also a winner of the Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. He's also graduating this spring and wants to pursue fine arts as well. We have behind here Jillian Avalar. She was a Silver Key winner and an honorable mention for her painting here. She has another drawing on the display board back there as well. So she had 2 awards this year, which we're super proud of, so congrats. Oscar as well for his photo here, who's a Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Award honorable mention, so congrats to Oscar as well. We're super proud of him. And Bailey Grandy, she's taken so many art classes like she mentioned, and she's recently got accepted to Lesley University. She's going to pursue filmmaking and creative writing, so she's going to double major, which we're super proud of her for doing. It's no easy accomplishment for sure. And we had another student as well who got into Massachusetts College of Art and Design who was unable to be here tonight. Lastly, we had a Congressional Art Award recipient, which is the Congressional Institute does a national art competition every single year, and Congresswoman Presley has chosen one of our students as a winner. She's out of state currently and couldn't be here. Her work is on the display board back here, Eddie's Duality. She was a Boston Globe Scholastic Art and Writing Awards winner, and is also the recipient of the Congressional Art Award. So her work will be going to DC and will be on display in the US Capitol for the next year to come. And she gets to go visit it and take someone with her as a guest. So we're super proud of our art students here. They've put in a lot of hard work. It's no easy feat, like making a painting and then realizing you messed up. You have to kind of go back through it over and over again, but we're super proud of all their accomplishments. So thank you so much for having us.
I just have a question. Gabriel, is that your drawing there too?
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing, I must say. Who's that person in there? You.
Oh, that's me.
Gabriel's also made the tanks there's cardboard tanks in the display cases there behind as well. There's one of the tanks represented in his drawing. So he's drawer and sculptor and 3D animator. So.
It's been a compliment. Excellent.
Thank you.
If I can say from the chair, I am absolutely, totally confident in making a statement that I am and always was the worst artist in the history of the planet. And I have such a respect for this. I mean, it took me all through first grade with Miss Curran to get me to learn how to make a circle. It's just really bad. So this is it's
Those are
just
challenging
amazing.
shapes to make.
Amazing stuff. I wish, well, no, I couldn't have made it in any of these classes, but absolutely fantastic, fantastic stuff.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Barros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was here that night, and it was fantastic to see so many people who came, family members, friends, but also other folks. So I think I want to take this opportunity to invite those who are watching us at this moment, because I believe this will continue to be displayed for a few more days in the library. If you haven't had a chance to come, please come and see all this amazing artwork that you guys put together, and congratulations for that, and thank you for your work and leadership on helping the students with all of this.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks
Scott,
again.
I'd just like to add that we have a talented art staff here, and although these children are bright and talented, young adults, I'm sorry, I always call them children, it took a talent of a teacher to pull that out of you. So I want to thank the teachers as well and your guidance.
Thank you so much for saying that. I truly am super happy to have the talented and skilled staff that work with these students, and they take multiple art classes, and the art teachers can kind of communicate together to build a strong curriculum between each other, and they do all kinds of things between the performing arts and the visual arts, and it's a lot of our students kind of go hand in hand with that. So this truly makes my job easier and these kids really benefit the most from it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. No?
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. I will make a motion to return to normal business.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, return to normal business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Back to Roman numeral 2, report of the superintendent, Mrs. Gauthier.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to announce an item of new business. It's a request from Encore Boston Harbor.
That's under new business.
Should be. I don't know if it's reflected
Oh,
on
here
it.
it is.
It's in addition to number 9. Take a look.
Right here. That's it.
Okay. Yes.
So that we'll tackle that under new business? or-
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, item number 1, the Anthony M. Malioni Students of the Month. Mr. Shaw?
Thank you, Mrs. Gauthier. It's exciting for me to introduce to the committee and to the community the young men and women who are selected as Students of the Month here at Everett High School for the month of April. The faculty and staff have asked us to recognize these young men and women because of their academic performance, their conduct in the classroom, or something else that distinguishes them from their peers, and we're proud to present them to the community tonight. Mrs. Gauthier, would you please join me in recognizing these students?
I'll go thank her.
First up, representing the English Language Arts Department, Leslie Benitez. Leslie is in her first year in a general education English class, and she was without question one of the hardest workers in the 10th grade. Despite being forced to overcome the language barriers, she has the highest grade in her class and is a role model for all students. She has maintained this level of excellence all year, and she is a worthy recipient of the Student of the Month honor. Congratulations, Leslie. Next up, being recognized for pre-calculus honors in AP Statistics, Jacob Jackson. Jacob? Jacob is always prepared for class, ready to work and to persevere through problem solving. While he is a naturally quiet student, he is always willing to help his peers and works well in collaborative situations. He is truly a model for the rest of the student body and a pleasure to work with. Congratulations, Jacob. Next up, being recognized for the Science Department, Rudy Andrade Guerrero. Rudy? Rudy's a smart, kind, and thoughtful student that consistently comes prepared and ready to learn in each biology class. Rudy will seek help if he doesn't understand a concept and will also readily help his fellow students. Rudy always has a smile on his face and is respectful to his fellow students and to his teachers. Congratulations, Rudy. Next up, being recognized for Social Studies Psychology, Raisha Asher. Raisha? Raisha has been a model of consistency throughout the year in psychology. She comes to each class ready not only to learn, but also to truly engage with the material. Raisha brings sincerity to her work that elevates the level of the class as a whole. Congratulations, Raisha. Being recognized by the Hospitality Department, Kervins Georges. Kervins is an outstanding student winning his hospitality management elective. He incorporates his love and exceptional artistic talents into all of his projects. His work is beyond an A and always meets deadlines. Congratulations, Kervins. Next up, being recognized for the Art Department, as you just saw, Oscar Mira Vela. Oscar is being nominated for the Student of the Month due to his dedication and creativity to the arts. Oscar's ability to take an idea and develop it artistically in his own style is unparalleled. Usually the first to arrive in class and the last one to leave, his creativity and artistic talents know no bounds. Congratulations, Oscar. And being recognized for the Health Department, Janice Perez Gomez. Janice. Janice is a very motivated person who excels in health scare skills too. Wow, that was tough. She always contributes to the American Red Cross Club and was outstanding at the Harvard University Forum we attended with Mr. Norman. Congratulations, Janice. And there were two students that were unable to attend tonight, Anthony Trejo in Culinary Arts, and in the music department, Eliza Duplantis was getting recognized by the music department. How about a nice round of applause for all our students of the month? At this time, I'd like to invite the students of the month and their families and friends over to where Dave O'Connor is, and Dave will take pictures. And I want to let you know that the pictures that Dave takes today will be on our website, as well as the pictures from the art show tomorrow. They'll have them on the website tomorrow. The Culinary Arts Portfolio show that was last week, and the students of the month. So please check out our website for those pictures.
And
Thank
our
you,
Facebook
everybody.
page.
Was that?
And our
Yeah,
Facebook
Facebook page, web page, and do you put them on Twitter too, Dave? Okay, the link is on Twitter. Thank you.
Mr. Shaw, does he have to take pictures of the STEM kids?
Yeah,
So then we have to wait a
Yeah.
few minutes.
yeah.
Item number 2, an update from the Everett High School STEM team. They just returned from Texas and are here to talk about the competition.
I make the motion to bring Ms. Sidis forward, please.
Second?
A motion made and seconded to bring Ms. Siders forward. All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it. Ms. Siders?
Good evening, thank you for having us again. This is my 2018-2019 STEM team. As you can see, there's 10 of the 12 are here. We just traveled to Houston, Texas by the gracious generosity of Everett Cooperative Bank. So just a rundown quickly of the competition. So there were about 450 students at the competition, 35 high schools, 8 teams from China, and 2 schools from Massachusetts, us and Ipswich. We compete with 2 different teams. The first team is the racing team. This is the team that we've had for about 7 years now. They compete in racing, aerodynamics, community outreach, engineering design, business, and graphic design. In this picture is Chloe, who's in charge of all of our graphic design and business. And these are the 2 of the posters that we use. The one on the left shows all the different activities that the students do throughout the year. And the one on the right is specifically associated with our engineering design project. The students compete in numerous different activities, including a pit stop challenge where they have to change different aspects of the car. And then on the left, those are our junior mechanics. And on the right is Eva Charbonnier, who is one of our senior mechanics. She's actually been driving the team for the last 3 years when it comes to mechanics. Here we have our team. Ahmed Alananze is our chief driver. And this year we actually placed the highest we've ever placed in racing events before. Ahmed was stellar through the entire competition and just did a phenomenal job. The other team we have is called Ethan's Rover. Every year we create a different name for this team. Last year they were the Iciers, they've been the Fire Pencils, Pillowmen. Every year it's a different creative name that has something to do with their community outreach project. And usually it has to do with teaching younger students about technology and getting them engaged in things. And we usually have 2nd and 3rd graders coming up with the names. But this year we actually chose Ethan's Rover after the brother of one of our students, one of our seniors, who has Down syndrome. And so they decided that that's what they wanted their community outreach to be. And so it became Ethan's Rover. Ethan's Rover competed in robotics, community outreach, engineering design, business, and graphic design. So here you can see this part of the competition is mostly robotics based. So the kids are given 5 challenges at the beginning of the day, and they're given a deadline, and they have to meet that challenge by that time. And so the challenge could be anything from driving in a straight line. On the left, you can see this is a maze. So they put the robot in a maze, and then they put it down, see what it can do, take it off, recode it, put it back down. And it's a process of just doing this all day. And they're constantly given a new challenge that they have to do. Again, on the left, you can see we have our Ethan's Rover project displayed, and then on the right is the engineering design project that we used for that team. So the results. This year we placed first year in engineering design, which is the highest we've ever placed before. We've never had a project even come close to first place. So that was phenomenal. We placed third in aerodynamics, which was another first. We've never placed higher than, I think, 10th in that category. Fourth in racing, which was another first, and then we got fourth place overall. So this is the Crimson Bolt team with their trophies after the competition. Ethan's Rover placed first in robotics, so they placed first out of all of the Rover teams. They placed second in community outreach, fifth in engineering design, and sixth place overall. So usually when this competition happens, it's the Rover teams and the racing teams come together for the overall scores, and usually the Rover teams can't even get close to the top 10 for the overall scores, just because there's not as many points for them, and it's a different type of hard in the competition. And so this is the second year in a row that our team has placed in the top 10 overall with a Rover team, which is pretty incredible. So when we went to Houston, we didn't just go to compete, but every time we go somewhere, I want to show the kids something about where we are, because they don't often get to leave Everett, so we try to capitalize on every opportunity. So this time we went to the NASA Space Center. This was the day before competition. You can see the kids here. They actually got to go, the spaceship on the left would have been Apollo 19. So had the Apollo missions continued, that was going to be the next Apollo mission. On the right, you just see those are spaceships that are now out of commission, and so they place them outside. So the kids also got to tour the International Space Training Center, which is where they have units from Russia, Italy, I don't even remember the other ones, to be honest with you. There's so many in this huge warehouse, and you can actually see the astronauts training in them. So that was a great day and a good experience for them. And then most importantly, I think, is the relationships that they build. So 3 of my seniors, Josh, Nat, and Eva, they've built these relationships and cultivated these relationships with teams from China. And it was instantaneous as soon as they saw each other when they got to the banquet the night before the competition, that they all remembered each other and they wanted to go catch up and talk to each other. And so I just thought that that was a really good example of what this competition really is and the international relationships that they're starting to build. The last thing I just want to say is the 3 individuals in the middle are Josh, Nat, and Eva. On the left, that's Terry Stripling. She's the CEO and president of 1080 Education. She kind of runs this whole thing. These 3 kids have been on this trip every year since their freshman year, and they've grown so much into such incredible young men and women that I could not be more proud of them. And it's just a humble brag. I've never seen them do the things that they've done, and they've really set the tone for this team for the next 10 years and beyond, because they've built this. They came into it as freshmen, but then they took it and they made it their own, and they made it bigger and better, and I just couldn't be more proud of them. So they have a microphone and they can answer any questions you guys might have. Nothing's off limits, so feel free to question them all. Yeah.
Well, I see they brought some artifacts with them. Maybe they want to explain some of that?
Okay, so the one right here, this is our first place in the data-driven design project. This is our engineering project that Eva, Nat, and I worked on. It was water filtration with natural resources for third world countries. The one Eva's holding is first place in Rover, so as Ms. Siders had said, that's a lot of the coding and the autonomous vehicle racing. The one Nat is holding is 4th place overall, so that's our Crimson Bolt, the combined score for 4th place. That one right there is 3rd place in aerodynamics, and then the one at the end is community outreach, 2nd place.
All of these trophies are designed by a welding artist that takes used spark plugs from race cars and creates these trophies. So they started that last year. So very interesting to walk through the airport with.
Yes.
What drew you to the Chinese team, and how did you communicate with them?
All right, so a couple years ago, well, actually, when I started high school, I was in Chinese as a language. So I know the most minimal amount of Chinese possible. But when we go there, I like to show off and hit them with like ni hao, Nita Po Young, you know what I mean? So I hit them with that, "You're my friend, hello, how are you?" And they answer me, but I don't know what they say. And that's how we start the conversation. And then we become friends.
Very good, very good.
So last year, the competition actually reached out to me and asked if we'd be willing to sit with a Chinese team at dinner, just because we've been around the competition and I can help out their coach and my kids can talk to them. And our teams just really hit it off, and they, especially Nat and Eva, because they had that Chinese class before, they just really enjoyed, maybe Nat didn't have Chinese, I'm sorry. Okay, it was just Eva. Anyway, they really enjoyed that conversation and they built those relationships, and this year they sent us an email asking if we would be willing to host again a Chinese team, and I said absolutely, like my kids they'll love it, so that's how we got connected.
Mr. Barrows?
No, you raise your hand.
Okay, I'll go. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Well, first I want to thank you for what you do by taking them and what you teach. It's just amazing. And then I want to ask you guys, one, what is next step? I know which college you were going to go, but what is next step for you guys? And second, what advice you give to students who are thinking about joining, the STEM program here in the school?
Okay, so I'm going to Emerson next year for marketing, and if I had to give a kid entering the STEM club any advice, it would be to clear up your schedule, because if you're trying to be a head mechanic, you got to put a lot of time in to learn the whole car.
I'm going to George Washington University for biomedical engineering. Advice for me would be just to try everything in the STEM club, because initially I started off strictly as engineering, but then worked my way into management and then business. So you really have the opportunity to discover what you're interested in if you're willing to put the time in.
I'm going to UMass Lowell for biomedical engineering. I was going to give the same advice that Josh said, because I started off, I was in the STEM academy, so I was like, oh, I'll join the STEM club. And there wasn't many open spots, because at first it was a really small club, and obviously we've grown over the years, but I started off where they needed me, so right then they needed me in business, so I first was doing like the elevator pitch and stuff like that, but as years have gone on, I am now a mechanic, so.
Awesome.
I'm also going to Emerson. I'm going to study film. My advice would be, don't be afraid to try new things, similar to what Josh said, but I truly mean it. This is actually my first year attending this. Ms. Hedges invited me, and I was like so stoked as soon as she said, "Do you want to come to Texas with us?" I was like, absolutely. And also as a fun fact, so Ethan's my little brother, so it was incredibly fun working on the video and working on that project. It meant a lot to me personally. So thank you guys for giving me that opportunity. I don't know if you guys are seeing.
Well, along the line from the chair, big thank you. I see Richie O'Neill from the Everett Cooperative Bank. His donation obviously made this trip possible. Richie, thank you so much. I'm sure the kids, students made us very proud, obviously, but thank you again. Absolutely.
I don't know if you noticed the shirts, too. Those were also donated. You want to stand up?
Turn around.
Stand up. Those are great shirts.
Free advertisement.
That's okay. That's great.
Yeah, I think
Again,
that.
as with the art program, it's because of dedicated teachers to exact the best from the students. And I want to thank Ms. Siders for all the extra time she puts in.
And I think on behalf of the students, we really would like to say thank you to the bank again. He really, the bank overall changed like our entire view on nationals, going from the budget being so tight and then them being so generous and funding the trip for us really made a difference, especially for us seniors, so thank you.
Ms. Cardella?
More to come.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You take for granted everything about robotics because you were born in this era. We sit here And our jaws were hanging going, wow, because we weren't. I mean, our children may have had little robots and we thought that was really cool, but what you do is amazing. I was introduced to robotics only back in the 90s at a school committee convention. It was the first time that I actually saw hands-on, and it's nothing compared to what you're doing today. So every time, last year, this year, when you come before us and you've done so well, just for the mere fact that you're doing this, you are our present and you definitely are our future. And I thank you for bringing so much pride to the city of Everett. God bless all of you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Cyrus.
Students, thank you.
Shall I go on?
Yes.
Item number 3 is the acceptance of $8,000 donation from the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. $6,000, I believe, is going to the music department and $2,000 to the culinary arts department for 4 $500 scholarships. Item number 4.
Mr. Parker.
Just on item number 4, I noticed Richard O'Neill's name is on this check, too. So between this and STEM, he's worth about $25,000. If this was Game of Thrones, he would be the master of coin. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to wish the music department well as they go to D.C. to march in the Memorial Day Parade. They'll be leaving at the end of this week, and when they get back, they'll be presenting an update on their adventure.
I'll be there.
Do we need a vote
We
on
need a
that?
vote on the acceptance.
Make a motion to accept the donation from the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the donation from the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Yes, Ms. Goodell.
Please, again, if we could, send a thank you note to the
course.
Friendly Sons. I mean, that's a great amount of money. Thank you.
Item number 4 is the approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the Everett Teachers Association and the Everett School Committee.
Motion to accept?
Second.
That-
Motion to accept and have the chairperson sign.
And have the chairperson sign the contract.
All those
I'll
in-
s- I'll
all those in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Cirillo.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we remove from the the collective bargaining with the Everett Teachers Association from the Subcommittee on Contract Negotiations.
Second.
We'll second that.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to remove the collective bargaining with the Teachers Association from the Subcommittee on Contract Negotiations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item number 5 is the request for guidelines for the principal's fiscal year 2018-2019 and 2019-2020 salaries under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 71, Section 59B.
Mr. Cirillo.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we instruct the Committee on Contract Negotiations to look at a 0 to 2% raise for for the next 2 fiscal years for the contract.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to have the Committee on Contract Negotiations look at, what is it, you recommending?
0 to
0 to 2% for that bargaining unit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item number 6 is the request to advertise for the following positions: Director of Literacy, Title I, Literacy Interventionist, and should be Math Interventionist as well, Wilson Intervention Reading Specialist, Director of Social Studies, Health and Wellness Education Coordinator, K-12, Academy Assistant Principals for Everett High School, Executive Assistant Principal of Innovation and Business Engagement at Everett High School.
Ask a question.
Mr. Parker.
If you could just highlight how many positions per title that you'll be advertising for?
Literacy Interventionist. what would you say, 5?
Director of Title I is just one position, Director of Literacy. The literacy interventionist, I believe it could be upwards of 10 at various schools. The math interventionist, I believe, Mr. Parker, it's around 6. I can get you a better number tomorrow, and I'll email it to you.
That's fine.
The Wilson interventionist, I believe it's 3 more. Director of Social Studies, just one position. Health and Wellness Education Coordinator is one position. Academy Assistant Principals is 5. And the Executive Assistant Principal of Innovation and Business is one position.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Barrows.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bronsky and Mrs. Gautier, this is based on, so this is for the new school year, pending the approval of the final budget. We already approved our budget, but we are waiting for the state.
All these positions are pending the approval of the final budget by the City Council and the state. The only position that wasn't included as part of the additional expenses of the $4,147,000 is the Health and Wellness Education Coordinator. So as we go along and add positions, we will probably take 1 or 2 positions away to fill this coordinator positions. We'll come back to you and let you know which positions those are. But those other positions are budgeted for in the $6.5 million.
I see, okay. Thank you.
And if I could add, the Director of Literacy in Title I, we already have a Director of Title I who's paid through grants, so we just need a subsidized amount to fulfill that
other piece.
salary.
Okay,
So it's not a full salary.
I see. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Item number 7.
Excuse me. Mr.
We
McLaughlin.
haven't voted that yet. Academy assistant principals, are these people in existence now, or are there going to be 5 new people hired?
They're in existence.
They're in existence
Yes, sir.
now, so there's no new people involved in that? Okay. All right, and
The executive is not in existence.
the executive is not, what kind of money is that guy going to get? Person?
135.
135,000? Okay, and we
Roughly.
already have the 5 principals.
No, that's not correct. Right now, there are 3 deans at Everett High School. 2 of the deans are what we call tenured or professional status. We working with the ETA to eliminate those positions on the 2 deans. We have to notify them legally by June 1st. One of them doesn't have professional status, so they will receive just a regular RIF, a non-renewal. These 5 positions have to be advertised because the deans are in the Teachers Association bargaining unit. These new assistant principals or academy assistant principals are part of the administrators bargaining unit, so we have to advertise them, interview it, and then hire the individuals.
My affirmative response to you was that these are people who are already working in the system. That's what I thought you meant.
Well, just so we're clear, based on what Mr. Obremski just said, that's not necessarily true if we're advertising for these, right?
They're new positions,
Right. Well, I mean,
so if you
is
pull
this just
from
going to be an internal search or
internal,
internal search?
yes.
Okay. Mr. Parker?
Just to clarify, where all these positions are coming from. These are the items that were discussed during the Finance Subcommittee. And also, it was the further input that was given to us by, all the principals for the extra positions, extra money. A lot of this is driven by the new academy structure and the pathways at the high school.
Correct.
So that's where you're seeing the shift from the dean to assistant principal.
Right.
And they're going to be bringing on more administrative responsibilities, correct?
Correct.
The only one that I don't recall, and I'm sure we discussed it, was the executive assistant principal of innovation and business.
I'll leave that up to Mrs. Gauthier
Yeah.
to answer that.
That is the person who engenders community support, community and state support, and
Right.
organizes the agendas for all of those meetings.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
I remember
it's
now.
more of an outreach.
Understood. Yeah, which I think,
We needed to
has
manage all of
been,
them.
a weak part of our game for years and years and years, right? And that's one of the beauties that I've seen of the academy structure is that we're bringing people into the schools, we're bringing businesses in, They want to help us out with vocational training and career paths and money and grants and more money. And did I mention money?
Yeah, you
So
did.
this person, the right person in this job, will bring in lots of money and pay for themselves. So I'm all for it.
Also to seek more grants and endowments. There's
Money.
plenty of money out there.
Yes.
And just to add to that, that's formerly what you might known as, originally, we were calling it the Director of Academies, but with conversation with Mr. Norman, the principal, we've changed the name.
Okay. So I'll put that in form of motion that we allow the administration move forward to advertise for these positions.
Yes, I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to advertise for the positions listed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item number 7 is the approval of dual enrollment agreement between Everett High School and Salem State University. Currently, we have dual enrollment program with Bunker Hill Community College, so this would be another outreach effort on the behalf Mrs. McCormick has put in place. She's here tonight if you have any questions for her. So we're just looking to have an agreement signed.
Move favorable action.
Second.
On the motion, a comment? The most exciting part of this contract, to me, is the name from Salem State University, Mary Dunn. Mary Dunn is an Everett woman.
Yeah.
So here we are, we just talked about community outreach. We've got people all across this country that are in positions to help us once they hear the story. So to see Mary's name on her, and she's just a wonderful person. And I'm so excited, being an alumni too, that, it's being driven by an Everett girl. It's fantastic, and, I hope to see more and more of this with every meeting coming forward. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
can we
Mayor.
just have Ms. McCormick quickly explain what that means? We understand, but I don't think we should assume that everyone at home understands.
So do I have a motion to bring Ms. McCormick forward?
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
And I'll second it, yeah.
Okay, motion made and seconded, bring forth Ms. McCormick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ms. McCormick, the floor is yours for this
Good
question.
evening. So Mary Dunn approached me. She's trying to give back to the community of which she grew up here. And through the pathways and we have done some initiatives with Ms. Gauthier for future teachers. So Mary's proposing to us that Salem State will hold one class, we'll start with one class, and students in our school will have the class on our campus, and the Salem State will pay for the book, they'll pay for the tuition for the students, they'll pay for the students' registrations. The school committee has limited responsibilities back, will provide Xeroxing material. The school will be open because it's our nights that we have traditional night school anyways. And I'll be the liaison between Salem State and Everett Public Schools. And I've given her a list of possible topics that we'd like to have, one of them being psychology, because that's something that our students traditionally take when they go to college, and this way they'd have it out of the way in high school. And it would give them more of an opportunity to gain college experience, but still being comfortable in their own campus. So they cannot appoint a professor to us or a topic until you sign the agreement.
Mr. Parker.
I'm sorry, did you say this is open to students who want to pursue education?
It's open to anyone, but
okay.
she's on our educational pathways committee. She's part of that,
Yeah.
and that's what inspired her to offer this to us.
That's great, because I know it's a big initiative from Commissioner Riley, right? Basically, 40% of the teachers, 40% of the students in the Commonwealth, are of color. We get only 6% of the staff, and I know it's a big initiative. This is great. You had the teacher signing day a week or two ago. It was like 7, 8 students, so again, you're moving the ball in the right direction.
Salem State is trying to work with us so that our students, as we move forward with this pathway, that Salem State would provide tutoring for them so that they would pass the MTEL, the Communication and Literacy, take it and pass it before they left Everett High School. And our only part of that agreement is to interview our own students.
Yeah. MTELs.
Mr. Barrows.
And that's similar to what we have with Bunker Hill Community College now.
We already have an agreement with Bunker Hill, and that's going really well. We have 22 students taking courses with Bunker Hill this semester. 2 courses are on our campus, medical terminology and human behavior. The courses we do with Bunker Hill, adults from the community can also participate. This course from Salem State is going to be only our students. So we only have to give them a minimum of 10, but it can go up to 25. But there will be no adults from the community in the Salem State class.
Gotcha.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Do they have spelling down there when they go down? I just
Spelling?
noticed on this contract, it says Everett Public School Committee with 3 O's.
Oh.
And the next one is chairperson of the school
Committee.
T.
Just so I can reiterate, I did correct that on the one that Mr. Aprizay is going to assign this evening, so it's all corrected.
I was going to say how soon they forget.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, it came through with Mr. Aprizay's. We had to correct the spelling on that, too.
And no one has ever misspelled my name in my life, okay? I'll just make that
Mine
clear
either.
right now. Mr. Parker.
Oh, no. But, so there's a motion before us?
Yes.
Motion, I guess, would be
Made
similar to
second,
the
I'll
past,
second.
would be to,
Yeah, I
for us
made
to approve and for me to sign.
And Mrs. Gauthier?
And Mrs. Gauthier.
And then the provost and Mary Dunn will sign.
Yep.
And then we'll have an agreement.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
Item number 8 is the request from the Big Sister Association to use the campus at Everett High School for the annual summer picnic event.
So favorable action.
Second.
So moved.
Motion been made and second for favorable action on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
So from here forward, Mr. Chairman, I request taking these items for favorable action. Take them collectively,
Collectively, 9 through
9 through 13.
13. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item number 9, request from Mr. John Taco of Encore Boston Harbor to use the auditorium at Everett High School Tuesday and Wednesday, May 28th and 29th, 2019, from 3 to 10 p.m. for training space for the Encore culinary team. Item number 10 is a request from Ms. Teresa Tringali, principal, to use the Madeline English School Friday, June 7th, 2019, to hold Fun Day. Item number 11 is a request to close school for students. Preschool on Wednesday, June 18th, 2019. Kindergarten, Wednesday, June 18th, 2019. Grades 1 through 11, Wednesday, June 19th, noon dismissal. Item number 12, the minutes of the following school council meetings. Everett High School, April 9th, 2019. Adams School, April 23rd, 2019. George Kavarian School, April 29th, 2019. Sumner G. Whittier School, May 1st, 2019. And item number 13 is the notification of events. Tuesday, May 21st, 2019 at 6 p.m., Special Education Parent Advisory Council PAC dinner at Everett High School in the cafeteria. Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019 at 6 p.m., Memorial Day concert at Everett High School in the auditorium. We look forward to packing the house. Monday, May 27th, 2019 at 10 a.m., Memorial Day program at Glenwood Cemetery. Wednesday, May 29th, 2019 at 6 p.m., the school committee's presentation of the fiscal 2020 budget at Everett City Hall, City Council Chambers. Thursday, June 6th, 2019 at 6 p.m., Scholarship Night at Everett High School in the auditorium. Friday, June 7th, 2019 at 9 a.m., Special Olympics, Everett Veterans Memorial Stadium. Wednesday, June 12th, 2019 at 6 p.m., Everett High School graduation, Everett Veterans Memorial Stadium. Friday, June 14th, 2019, 9 a.m., the Olympiad at Madeline English School.
Thank you, Mrs. Gauthier. Roman numeral number 3, items submitted by school committee members. I see number 1, Mr. Parker.
Mr. Chairman, I placed before on the agenda, the Everett School Committee accept national laws, Chapter 71, Section 38M, regarding student advisory committees. And I'd like to make a motion to refer this to the Committee on Student Activities.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to refer this item to the
Committee on Student Activities.
Committee on Student Activities, Subcommittee on Student Activities.
Correct. So if I can on the motion?
Go ahead.
So this is actually something that I had conversations with the previous superintendent about. And during the course of this time, I've had conversations with Mrs. Gauthier. And then, because I want to be like Mr. Ela, when I get bored, I read Chapter 71. And I came across 38M. So the key word is shall, right? So it's our discretion on what to do here. I had approached Mr. Barrett and Mr. Norman about a month ago, and they were very interested and thought this was an idea of substance. But what really turned the corner, I guess, was, as you know, myself, Mr. Barrows went to Day on the Hill, and we were joined by Mrs. McWilliams, social study teacher at the high school, and 2 students, Carolina Penaflor and Sierra Lambert. And as we were crossing Boston Common from the Masons Temple over to the State House for lunch, talking to these 2 girls, they relayed some conversations they had again with Mrs. Gauthier about bringing this to fruition. So that day, I witnessed at the school departments with a student representative, and I really think the time is right on this because the advocacy that's coming through this school, school system, all you have to do is read the Crimson Times. All you have to do is follow, the LGBT community within the school or groups like Teaser to understand, or the reception that the Congresswoman got recently. These kids are involved. The 2 young ladies that I mentioned had already testified at the State House, and I believe they participated in the Fund the Future rally that was held last week. So what I'd like to do is refer this to the committee, inviting Mrs. McWilliams, Mr. Barrett, Mr. Norman, and any students that they deem necessary, because what I want them to do is tell us who that person should be, right? What's right for Everett High School as opposed to, the school committee telling the students what it is. And, personally, the person should be, someone who's, it's on merit, someone who's well-spoken, and not a popularity contest. This is a real good opportunity for us as a body. It's a real good opportunity for the students. It's a real good opportunity for the city overall. And I think what we'll also see moving forward is that part of this civics initiative, there's some guidance coming out by the Secretary of State, per Mrs. McWilliams. They also want to extend the participation of these students to municipal boards. So I think it's another big step in being more inclusive with the community. So again, the motion before you is to refer to the Committee on Student Activities. Mr. Monica is the chairperson, and if you can call a meeting soon, we're probably going to need at least an hour. That'd be greatly appreciated. So thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Parker. So motion is made and seconded to refer this matter to the Subcommittee on Student Activities. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next item is submitted by Mr. Barrows.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few months ago, Governor Baker signed into law a new legislation that will mandate schools to require early screening on kids with possible dyslexia. And I've added this item to the agenda so members of the community can hear from our administrators how and if our schools are complying with this new mandate. So that's why I asked to add this item to the agenda, and I'd love to hear from Mrs. Gauthier and not only to us as a committee, but to members of the public, where we are at as a district on the we don't implement, we follow the mandate.
Sure. I'll be happy to explain. So in order to explain it, you should know what it involves. So dyslexia is a disorder of understanding language that manifests itself in a disability, which signals special education, to listen, think, speak, read, write, and spell. Now, this is caused from a variety of reasons, social and also physical. The Everett Public Schools does screen for this when children enter school. Okay, so that's part of the registration process. They are tested. From there on in, we follow up naturally with analysis and collecting data and trying to work through the issue and get them the help that they need. Currently, Mr. Donahue is on a board of all special education directors. He's been in talks about this, and he said that on May 23rd, the Special Education Administrators Meeting is going to discuss this topic. So very often, the state will come out with mandates, the governor will give a mandate, and it's up to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to figure out how they're going to implement it. So that's what the upcoming meeting is about. So I think we do have a good handle on it, but we need to be more definitive on how we can help the kids. So that will be coming, and should you request Mr. Donahue, after May 23rd, I'm sure in the June meeting maybe, he'll be happy to update you.
Or
if I
that would
can
be
get
great.
more
Or
info.
if he can just report back to
Sure,
you, and then
I'll
you
let
can
you
let
know.
us know.
Absolutely.
That would be great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Cadell.
Question, how do these screen, at what level? Is it kindergarten? Sorry, thank you. Is it kindergarten that they screen, or preschool, or?
It's skill-based, so, naturally, a pre-K student, you can't ask too much.
Right.
So if there's any suspicion that the child needs help or will need help, even a child in the classroom, the teachers know enough to refer that student for what is called a START initiative, and that's collecting all the data and evidence that's necessary to bring them into the special education population.
Okay, I thought you said they're screened when they enter school.
They do. So if they suspect...
If they suspect something is...
something,
okay, got
they
it.
watch it for a while. A lot of times, it's maturity, too. When you have the pre-K kids, they're babies. So you wait a while and see if the skill comes along, if they're able to communicate effectively, and then if there are issues, certainly by Christmas, I would say they'd manifest themselves.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That would be great if you can report back on after this meeting.
I shall, yep.
That Mr. Donahue will have it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Barros. Okay, next item submitted by a school committee member is submitted by myself, update on the superintendent search. I can go from personal, where we are, but also at the same time, I'd like to believe, has Mr. Kutcher scheduled the focus groups as of yet? Are we aware?
I haven't heard from him.
Okay, all right, so that should be happening in the very near future, that the focus groups are scheduled. At the same time, I am putting together the search committee itself. At this point in time, I believe I have, I'm about halfway there, just out to the general public, and in particular, how can I say this? People in government, certain people in administrative positions here in the Everett Public Schools. I have not heard from anyone, and quite frankly, a little disappointed. And where I thought there would be a stampede of people to attempt to be on here, I have many, many more concerned parents than people I would expect to be involved with this. So, I'm sending out there for last chance to please, anyone who is interested, please contact me. My email is right on the Everett Public School website, and believe me, people have found it. I have gotten a large number of people involved, but like I said, it's sort of the same. It's been many, many more concerned parents than it's been any other category of people. So, again, with that information, I'd like to make my decisions. My plan was to have the committee in place by Memorial Day, and I'm still going along that line. So that's where we're at. If anybody has any questions for me in terms of that?
According to his timeline, May and June, he set aside for the focus groups. So.
Right. And again, the focus groups will be for everybody to come and meet, but again, there is an opportunity. Trust me, there are plenty of opportunities for a lot of people still to be on the search committee. I mean, I can take up to a maximum of 15. Like I said, right now, I've got, I believe, 8 that are certain to be on it. So, again, it's up to the public, but, you know, again, I thought it would be something that there would sort of be a stampede, and that's not the case right now. Mr. Barros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding the folks group, we, as a committee, will advertise where they will happen, so members of the public can come, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yes. And be in various locations, and again, anyone who wants to come and put in their thoughts, ideas, opinions, trust me, you will have an opportunity at some point in time to do it. Mr. Parker.
And if I could add to your comments, we're also going to be doing an online survey. We'll let people know how they can access. That'll be advertised to the Mass Association of School Committees. And then my understanding from the timetable, attending the meetings, we'll probably advertise late August. And at that point, that's when the search committee really comes into play, screening candidates, and have somebody signed, still delivered by Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Again, if that's, I've told personally candidates that I've called, candidates that I've sought out, if they have concerns about the summertime, I've assured them that it will be sort of a downtime during that period of time.
And again, I want to assure people that, you know, we're doing this hand in hand with the Mass Association of School Committees.
Right.
So, I mean, the website, Glenn Kuchar, Kathleen Kelly, these people are accessible. You know, they want to meet as many people as they can with many groups in the community. So you mentioned 15 people. So there's an opportunity now. People have been asking for this for a long time.
Correct.
And there's an opportunity here for them to capitalize on. So I hope you run out of memory on your email after tonight with all the responses you get.
All I can say is that has not happened.
Okay.
So hopefully it will now. Okay. Mr. D'Onofrio.
Just a quick question. So you have 15. You have
I have
eight-
a maximum
A
of
maximum
15.
15. What happens if you don't get those 15? Do you come back to us, and
Well, if
will
the-
you add more of the school committee members, or is that it? Are you just going to cut off
Again,
the numbers?
the people I said, my thoughts right now are, in terms of, I said, what my hopes were, just so everybody knows, my hopes were to get a teacher from every level of school.
Which I remember.
So far, right now, I'm completely comfortable with a teacher from the elementary level. I don't have anyone from the high school level. I don't have any principals. That was my anticipation, was my door would get knocked down by certain people. And again, it just hasn't happened. I'm happy to report, I'll be happy to let the general public know, a person that I tremendously desired to be on the search committee, the chief of police has agreed to be on the search committee.
I remember that. I
so,
believe you told us that.
But beyond that, I've had suggestions from people in government. I've made phone calls, and quite frankly, I have not had phone calls returned. So that's where I'll leave that. Mr. Parker.
Well, I'm encouraged by the focus groups. I think once those start happening, get into gear, people realizing it's real. I'm hopeful that you'd find some good candidates
Well-
that would emerge from that process.
I hope so too, but at the same time, people out there have to understand how this is going to work. The search committee is going to take all of these applicants and get it down to 3 or 4 candidates. So the focus groups are extremely important, but if you really, really want to get involved in this, I think you would take the opportunity to try to be on the search committee because, that's where it's really going to be at, in terms of ultimately choosing the next superintendent of schools. So, in case I didn't make that clear back when, that's the reality. So, again, to answer Mr. D'Onofrio's question, if I had sort of repetitive type people, like I've spoken to several people and I've emphasized to them, there are many people, ELL parents, many people with special needs, and all I can tell you is I've assured them that that will obviously be a very, very important part of whether or not they're on the search group. That will be vital in terms of, at least in my mind, the next superintendent of schools. That's going to be absolutely vital, both of those subjects.
Great. No,
Okay?
Yep.
So I guess
Thank
my
you.
answer to your question is, if there are, 10 parents who are concerned about ELL, we're not going to have, 10 parents, So,
I understand.
in that vein, if I was satisfied with 7 or the 8 people we have, that's what it would be. With everyone out there knowing they have an opportunity to at least apply. And quite frankly, I haven't turned down anybody yet, let's put it that way. So,
Thank you.
that's where we're at. Now we're going to do, are we going to do bills and payrolls, or we're going to do the new business first?
Make a motion to refer that item back to sponsor.
Okay.
I'll second it.
A motion made and seconded to refer the item back to sponsor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. I think we'll go do the new business first before we go to the... No? No? Doesn't matter?
Usually they're in the list. We get subcommittee and then new business is number
Okay.
7.
So let's do subcommittee report, Committee on Finance, Mr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading and accept the minutes as written for the meeting which was held earlier this evening.
Motion been made and seconded to waive the reading of the minutes from the Subcommittee on Finance that was held earlier this evening. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Last week, after we had our presentation of the city budget, Mr. Obremski, Mrs. Gauthier, and Mr. Shaw received a memorandum or notification from the mayor asking if we could make some cuts to our budget and add some additional expenses and positions in its place to the tune of about $500,000. Mr. Obremski, Mr. Shaw, and Mrs. Gauthier came up with a preliminary proposal, and we had a meeting earlier this evening at 5:30 to discuss this. And without going into great detail, it was looking at getting some, taking over and making sure that we continue to fund For Kids Only, the after-school program, looking to pay the 2 part-time employees that the city was paying for the Joint Committee on Children's Health Care, and also looking at adding some attendance officers. So after the discussion, the committee made 2 recommendations to the full board, that we'd like to make a recommendation to discuss and refer this item to the School Finance Review Commission, which is going to be held this Thursday evening, May 23rd at 6 p.m. And I'll put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to refer this item to the School Finance Review Commission. It's meeting this Thursday. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And since we would have to, if there are any changes or additions to our budgets, that we would like to make, the committee would like to make a recommendation to the full board that we have an emergency meeting of the full school committee on Monday, the 28th, if necessary, to discuss any changes to the school budget.
I believe it was Tuesday the 29th. The recommendation.
Tuesday, the 28th.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 28th.
Tuesday the 28th.
Did I say that?
You said Monday.
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry, I'm so used to having Monday meetings. Thank you, Mr. Barros.
So that's in form of a motion that's been seconded. So motion been made and seconded that if necessary, there'll be an emergency school committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May 28th.
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. in order to discuss these issues.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, now I'll get back to the real stuff. In the matter of bills and payrolls, I'd like to make a motion that we approve bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,105,931.26.
Motion made and seconded to approve bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,105,931.26. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Now I'd like to make a motion to pay bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,105,931.26.
Motion made and seconded to pay bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,105,931.26. Roll call vote, please, Gina.
Yes.
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 Yes, 9 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The motion passes. Now we go to new business. The encore request?
Yes.
So, in form of new business, this is a request from Encore to utilize the auditorium from 2:30 to 8 p.m. on June 1st this is Cambridge College graduation ceremonies.
Just on that one matter, that's a big graduation. I know my wife got a couple of degrees there, and boy, that's big. There's a few thousand people. Where are they going to park?
I think, as far as Encore is concerned, I don't think it's a regular academic. If Encore is making the request.
Oh, there is an Encore part of Cambridge?
Yes.
The Encore developed courses through Cambridge.
Do we know how many people is involved?
Is it in there? It's on, courses on gaming certification and preparation for the opening of the casino.
It'd be nice to know how many people are coming. You're going to need police details?
We are,
Well,
they'll take care of it.
Sparrow?
the letter states that they will bring in security if deemed necessary. So my understanding is that they will pay for it?
Yes.
Including custodians as well? Okay.
So I have a-
I think the police department should know something like this is coming.
Ms. Parker?
Just stated question, do we have any conflict that day that we can't accommodate?
Mr. Norman and
June
Mr. Barrett
1st.
already entertained this idea with them, and it seems like it'll work.
Fantastic.
Saturday, June 1st.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve the request by the Encore.
Second.
And they will cover the costs.
Yeah, they're going to bear the cost.
Right, and they cover the costs. So
Yes.
make sure when we tell them that, Mr. Chairman, right?
Motion made and seconded to approve the use of the auditorium on June 1st by Encore with the proviso that they will absorb the costs. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
And when the agenda's ready, I will certainly let you know.
Yeah,
There's a-
put a
I'll
certain
send it
caveat
out.
that we know how many people are coming. If possible. I move adjournment.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We are adjourned.